People in business stay stuck because they're too focused on talking about themselves. Someone asks what you do, and you immediately drop your job title and launch into some lengthy explanation that's really confusing and really boring. Instead, the most successful people I know apply these 3 simple steps to give themselves the advantage and end up more visible, more memorable, and with more money than everyone else who's scrambling to pitch themselves. Now, over the last 10 years, I've shared this with countless founders and entrepreneurs who have used it to drastically change their pitches, leading to more revenue and more growth. So today, I'm going to share what the 3 steps are and how you can use them correctly for yourself. The 3-step technique is called the Spotlight Swap. If you're new here, I'm Sam Ross, and I have a creative agency that helps emerging brands. And when I work with their people on their pitches, I tell them this is just about making one simple shift, moving the focus from you and putting it on them. And once you know how to do this, every conversation becomes easier because you're not explaining yourself. You're connecting with the other person. So step 1 is the mirror. Whenever you're in a situation where you've got to explain what you do, you've got to give them a tiny tease of an answer to keep the conversation going, while at the same time putting the focus back on them. Now, this is a lot easier than it sounds because everybody loves to talk about themselves, so putting the focus back on them is actually very easy. What you're going to do is you want to have a short, concise anchor response ready to go. So you might say something broad but intriguing like, I work with solopreneurs and startups on their digital marketing. Or, I help busy executives get healthy and eat better. That satisfies the polite question. Second, you immediately pivot using this magic phrase. You know how. So this is going to do all of the heavy lifting for you. So you say, you know how, and then you describe a specific pain point in your niche that they're likely to recognize. So let me give you an example. Imagine someone asks you what you do, and you say, I help busy executives get healthy and eat better. Then you pivot. You know how busy professionals can get, right? I mean, come on, we're all really busy. But the people I work with, they tend to not take breaks, they don't plan meals, and they push until they crash, and they end up grabbing the easiest, fastest thing to eat. And you know how the easiest and fastest thing is almost always unhealthy? The burger or the sandwich, the thing that actually makes you crash faster? Do you know what I mean? All right. So that response does 2 things. It answers the initial question just enough to be polite, and it forces the other person to think about a real problem because you just painted a specific scene that they can't help but see themselves in. And it doesn't really matter if they're a busy executive or not. At this point in the conversation, you're not trying to mind read and you don't have all of the information. But everybody can relate to the challenge of being busy and wanting to eat better and feel better and be healthy. Now, more often than not, this is going to be enough to prompt them to start sharing about their own experiences. And if it doesn't, you can just simply expand on it. And you say again, you know how, and then you give another example of a pain point. And then very simply, if they haven't taken the bait at this point, you just say something along the lines of, do you know what I mean? They will absolutely respond. And this whole sentence has 0 jargon and no fancy job titles in it. And it invites the other person to share about their problems, which is how you get valuable information. Now, the most common mistake here is making the pain too broad. If you say something like, you know how business people struggle to stay in shape? Well, that kind of falls flat. Business people could really mean anyone, and staying in shape could literally be anything under the sun. You need to tell the story of struggle with some relatable, vivid, specific details. That is step 1, the mirror. You hold up their world and they see themselves in it. But getting them to see themselves is only half the battle. The real test comes in step 2 when you've got to build the bridge. And if you're watching this and you're thinking, gosh, you know, my elevator pitch really needs help, you are not alone. My client Angela was in the exact same boat. She attends a lot of conferences and she's got to meet people and pitch herself all day long. And we actually met at one of these, and she launched into the what do you do question like every other single person at this conference. I mean, she was literally fumbling over herself trying to cram all the right phrases and the keywords into her pitch, and she really had like no idea what the most important and valuable information was to share. She was just hammering me with all of this language that I really didn't know anything about, and she kept searching my face to see if I understood her, and I didn't. So I literally stopped her in her tracks and was like, Angela, you need help with your pitch. And she just dropped everything, looked at me wide-eyed and was like, I know, it's terrible. I have no idea what I'm doing wrong and I don't know what to say. And then I used the spotlight swap technique that I am teaching you right now on her, and she became a client. But here's the best part. We worked together on her pitch one time. That's right. That's all it took to put together a concise, easy script that she could use again and again. And this works digitally too. Your pitch is the foundation of your messaging, your copy, and all of your content. And yes, digital is different from a one-on-one in real life conversation, but the principles are exactly the same. So if you want to rebuild your elevator pitch in one session and leave with something you can start using immediately, then book a free strategy call with me. My calendar link is in the description below. But let's get back into step 2, the bridge. This is where you connect their struggle to your unique solution, and you can do it without ever having to drop a job title. Now, if you've got a great job title and you're proud of it, by all means, use it. You might have one that is very helpful and immediately orients people into your world, but you don't want to lean on it for everything or expect it to do all of the heavy lifting for you. All right, so the bridge formula is very straightforward. Instead of using the old I help X achieve Y line, which is just so 2020 and so played out, try this instead. When ideal client comes to me, this is usually what's going on in their lives or their business. And then you're going to describe their exact situation. So let's go back to our example. You say, when busy executives come to me, they're usually crashing hard by 3 p.m., they're surviving on takeout, they feel completely out of control of their health. And the biggest challenge is business travel. I don't know what it is. It's like things go off the rails. I think because when people are traveling, they associate it with vacationing, so psychologically they feel like they can cheat. But we fix all of that. So they've got consistent energy again, they feel great, they're actually saving time by not having to figure out what they're gonna eat at every meal, and this leads to better work results and better workflow. So notice what happened there. This framing is much stronger because it paints a vivid picture of the person right before they find you. It keeps the spotlight off of your process and yourself and firmly on their reality and problem. The bridge positions you as the guide instead of the hero. Now, the most common mistake here is very similar to step 1, making their situation too broad or generic. If you say something like, when busy people come to me, they're stressed out and tired, the bridge collapses. Nobody sees themselves in that vague description. The formula only holds if you paint a vivid, specific picture of the reality. You've got to describe that 3 p.m. crash and the Shake Shack wrappers scattered on their desk. If you can't name the concrete details of their struggle, it means you don't know their reality well enough yet. But, and I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, when you can describe their reality for them better than they can do it for themselves, you immediately position yourself as the expert. So why is the spotlight swap so effective? My dad was a Madison Avenue advertising executive, and he taught me a secret golden rule that every great ad follows and proves why the spotlight swap works so well. Because at the end of the day, your elevator pitch is just an ad for you. So here is the secret golden rule. If you watch a commercial and walk away remembering everything but what was being sold, that commercial failed. The product is the star, not the actor, not the special effects, not the music or the location. And in this case, the product, the star, is the person you're talking with, not you. You've got to keep the spotlight on them, and then the bridge will hold. So that brings us to step 3. This is the payoff. It answers the unspoken question every listener is asking. How does this make my life better? This is also where most people completely fall apart. They get the mirror right and they build a pretty decent bridge, but then when it comes to the payoff, they blow it by describing their processes, their features, their benefits, themselves. Instead, when what they should be describing is the other person's win. Unless you can describe what life looks like on the other side of the problem and what it actually means for their life, their business, maybe their identity, it doesn't matter what you do because the picture will be incomplete. Now, step 3 also has a magic phrase to make it easy. You end with, so they can. And then you name the ultimate win, the emotional, the financial, the physical success and result that they get. So for example, going back to our busy executive, you would say, so they can have the energy to show up fully for their family, crush their workday without crashing, and actually enjoy their life again without feeling like they're constantly running on empty. That is the true payoff. So notice how it isn't about your specific meal planning method, your 12-week fitness program, or any proprietary coaching framework you might be selling. It's strictly about who they get to become and how their daily reality changes on the other side of working with you. When you nail the payoff, you create a curiosity gap. And the other person doesn't just understand what you do, now they want to know more about it, and that leads to working together. Get this right, and you're going to do more than just nail your pitch every time. You're going to feel more confident, more empowered, and more in control of the conversation. So if you're ready to nail your pitch in one day, book a free strategy call in the link below. If you've ever stumbled when someone asks, "So, what do you do?" This call is for you, and I will see you soon.